As you'll gather from the running order that you've got in your packs, we do have a packed programme tonight. We start with a session on the multi-agency approach to tackling crime and major incidents in the borough of Southwark. Then we have a session from my team on the specific measures businesses can take to secure their premises. Then at 6:30 we're going to take a little break. You'll see the wine waiting there, and the hotel said don't let them start drinking the wine, and I thought, well, why? And we'll resume with our very own Derek Mason from HSBC, from the area, who will be tackling the topic of business continuity. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jonathan Toy, who's Head of Community Safety for the Safer Southwark Partnership, who is going to chair the first session for us.
Welcome, thank you for inviting us. We're very pleased to be here, and I'm going to try and condense 42 slides into about 5 minutes. It's not really 42, I just thought I'd check you're still awake at 5:30 in the evening. What I'm going to cover is those 3 points, and I'm not going to talk to each of them in terms of the PowerPoint, but obviously you can see what the hopefully the excitement of the next 5 minutes is going to bring for you. I've been introduced as the Head of Community Safety for Southwark, London Borough of Southwark, and I'm very pleased to hold that title. Thank you. I now introduce myself to you as Jonathan Toy, who runs a business in Better Bankside. My office is just that way. And like you, I have a number of issues, a number of key things that I want to see for my business within this particular area. And the first thing is that I actually want my business to be profitable. I have a slightly different definition of profitable in terms of running a council service, because obviously profitability for me is actually making sure that what we do makes a difference to the borough and particularly for people, residents and businesses in this particular area. But I do have a particular interest in making sure that that I achieve my goals and that we are profitable and that we are successful. I also need to make sure that I get my employees safely to work and on time. Very important. Getting them here on time is vital. Getting them away again is obviously important, but I do want to make sure that they're here on time, and they're not late, and that they're safe. And it's a key factor for me. And I want them to enjoy the environment that they work in, not just the office that they find themselves in, but the whole environment, because actually I've worked in areas, and I know there's people in this room who have similarly worked in other areas where we've had feedback that actually people don't feel safe in the environment that they find themselves in, and it's absolutely crucial as a business that I can actually attract really good people who enjoy the area that they work in and enjoy the environment they work in, and don't spend too much money in Borough Market, which they're doing at the moment. I need to make sure that my employees are trustworthy, and I think sometimes when you get community safety and police and others come and talk to you around the crime aspects that we see in terms of businesses, we sometimes forget that actually one of the things that we face as businesses is issues in terms of white collar crime. And if we forget that, I think we forget some of the key issues that actually affect our businesses. So I really want to make that absolutely clear. It's on my radar, and I know it's on colleagues' radar in terms of actually how we deal with things, because having trustworthy employees and knowing that they're trustworthy and having the ability to check that is absolutely vital. And I need to know that the building I occupy is secure, absolutely vital. And I highlight that actually because I'm in the second premises that I've enjoyed working in the Borough and Bankside area, and the first one we were robbed twice. Not a very good, you're not to tell this to anyone, community safety team, 2 burglaries, not a great advert, wasn't our fault, but it was a big issue for us. And of course we often get caught in the phrase, don't we, actually business crime is a victimless crime. Well, I can tell you that I didn't feel like I wasn't a victim, because the amount of hours and days it took me to sort out the reports, the insurance claims, trying to get the premises back in order, and the impact I had on my workforce was significant. So I wanted to share that with you because I'm not just here as the Head of Community Safety. There's an awful lot of stuff that's on this slide in terms of business crime in Southwark. And a lot of things that are similar to what our residents tell us, to what businesses tell us. And some of the things that I've been talking about already in terms of making that environment safe, making the workforce feel safe, making sure that the area is free of the visible signs of crime and antisocial behaviour is absolutely vital, whether you're a resident or a business, and it's important that we draw on that. And I'm sorry I'm flying through these slides, but I have only got 5 minutes. I've just used up 4.5. This is a map of non-residential burglary in the north part of Southwark. Those dots represent a crime, and you can see the size of non-residential burglary that takes place in the Better Bankside area, and we are dominated by commercial crime, non-residential burglaries within this area, and you can see just how much it's clustered. And I do just need to share with you that my office was on Union Street, just about where those dots are there, which is probably why we've got such a proliferation. The other thing I wanted to share with you is something that we're grappling, the police and the council and other partnerships and our Bankside Rangers grappling all the time, which is issues around the theft of pedal cycles. Why am I telling you this? Well, it goes back to that bit about making sure our employees feel safe getting to work and that they feel safe in that environment. When you look at that pedal cycle theft across the borough, you can see what the split is. What I can tell you is that proliferation up there is predominantly made up of people who actually cycle into work and park their bikes up either outside or near the premises that they find themselves in. And the connection between very high rises in pedal cycle theft and our commercial premises is very real and very, very prevalent. And I could draw similar comparables to other types of crime, such as robberies within the north of the borough and key times like lunch times, like around Borough Market, where we actually specifically identify spots and locations that are directly tied into people who work and run a business in those areas. So it's very important we understand that we don't just concentrate on the issues of crime against the business. We need to think about crime against our employees who come into the area as well. And again, I didn't want to lose that particular fact. We've got a bit of a breakdown here for you in terms of what we look at recorded crimes. And you can see that over the last year or so, there has been a drop, around about a 10–15% drop within the total amount of crime within that area. But within that, actually, commercial burglary has been very slowly creeping up within those areas. What's our partnership response? Well, I have to say I'm really privileged to enjoy a wealth of excellent partnership facilities within this part of the borough, and Charles and his team work very closely with our warden services. We have excellent relationships with the safer neighbourhood teams. We have an awful lot of fantastic community groups that play a really, really positive and active part in community safety within this area. And I think with that wealth of agencies that you can see down there, we really do have an excellent opportunity of actually tackling some of the crimes that I've already been talking around. We do have an approach which is well structured, and I won't spend a lot of time going through these, but we have this three-tiered approach within Southwark in terms of how we work with our communities, how we prevent crime and how we enforce crime. And there's a range of different ways that we've been working with different agencies and through different programs actually have we think, been making quite a big significant difference. Keeping the borough cleaner, I think, is absolutely vital for this part of Southwark. Again, if we want to attract the kind of investment and continue the kind of investment we want within this particular area, we have to provide the very best quality of services, and particularly very best quality of environmental services. Southwark is renowned for that, and I hope that we continue with some of the improvements you can see on that particular screen. And although young people won't come up in terms of this conversation in terms of business crime, I don't think we should forget the impacts of young people. This is a very big social venue. We get a lot of people exporting into this area, and we do need to make sure that we provide the kind of interventions and services that support young people within our borough and deter them from getting involved in antisocial behaviour and criminality. Some things for the future. Well, some of the things I put up here are actually on the agenda for today, so I did it on purpose, really, but I also did it because I think it's really, really important. The issues about crime against employers I've already mentioned. I think there is more we can do around that. And I think there's some more networking we can do around that. And if people get the opportunity to talk to Stephen Govia here, who's here from Lambeth, there's some excellent work that's been done within Lambeth and the businesses around some of the work that they've been doing. And we were talking very briefly, we would welcome that input into Southwark from our point of view. Terrorism is a big issue for us, and Juliet's going to come and talk to you in a few minutes about the terrorism and some of the work we do in this area. And we are leading the field in some of the work around how we address terrorism, and that's a big issue. Smoking legislation, in case it's not on your radar, can I highlight to you that as of the 1st of July, the smoking legislation comes in, which doesn't ban people from smoking, but it does restrict them from smoking in public areas or in enclosed areas. Why is that important? Why is that important for particularly for businesses around Borough and Bankside? Well, it's important because you need to think that you have to comply with that legislation, and if you don't comply with that legislation, you are in breach and could potentially be fined. But you also need to think about how you manage it in terms of your employees. Okay. Now, I'd hate to name any businesses, 61 Southwark Street, but if I walk past that business on my way down the road today, you will find hundreds of cigarette butts outside that premises, as you will with a number. And we need to think about actually how we deal with that, because 63% of the litter that we pick up off our streets is related to cigarette and cigarette detritus. So if we want to keep Borough and Bankside and Better Bankside cleaner, we want to do it. We need to get our businesses to own work around the smoking legislation. It's very, very important, and we want to make sure that if people are going outside their premises to smoke, there are the facilities available to them to dispose of their detritus properly. We've been running a number of programmes like Street Leaders for our residents and communities. Very successful. We have over 350 street leaders across the borough which go around every day and report things like street lighting that's out, or abandoned vehicles or graffiti. We have over 400 youth street leaders, and they report the same kind of issues in and do regular tours around the area. Very impactful. Why don't we do something around business street leaders? Do something a bit more vibrant around that. I think that's a real opportunity for us. And I've already overstayed my welcome, so I'm going to shut up now for fear of rattling on too much. The next person who's going to come and talk to you is Sgt Steve Dutton, Safe Neighbours Sergeant for Cathedral Ward. Steve.